Alabama versus Auburn. Kickoff time just announced. It'll be at 6:30 p.m. Central Time under the lights at Jordan-Hare Stadium, a playoff play-in game for the Alabama Crimson Tide. Before we get this video going, what is your confidence level in Alabama beating Auburn? Is it high? Is it mid? Is it low? Sound off inside the comment box. Now on Monday, Coach Kalen DeBoer, offensive coordinator Ryan Grubb, and defensive coordinator Kane Wommack spoke to the media following its loss to Oklahoma. And Coach Kalen DeBoer, he started off the press conference and he said this: look, the approach I can already see with this team is they are dialed in. This is not the time to sit still. This is the time to move forward. 100%. You got to keep that positive mindset because there still is a lot at stake, right? Alabama, they beat Eastern Illinois. You beat Auburn. Good chances that you are in the SEC title game. I'll say it again. Because of the fact that Alabama has a head-to-head win over the Georgia Bulldogs, Alabama has a great shot to go to the SEC championship, but it starts this weekend against Eastern Illinois. But this is the type of mentality that you want to see from the head football coach, right? No excuses, no panic, just forward momentum. I think there is a big difference from when Alabama lost its first game of the season against Florida State to when they just lost this game against Oklahoma. I would say against Florida State, do you agree with me? Alabama was outcoached. They were outplayed by the Seminoles at that point in time. From then, Alabama took that negative and had 8 positives. That's 8 wins consecutively in a row. I think that last Saturday, and kind of looking at it, and as we flush that out, Alabama lost because they had self-inflicted wounds, right? Turnovers, missed opportunities on special teams. That is why Alabama lost. I strongly feel that if Alabama and Oklahoma were to play again, Alabama is the better team. In fact, I thought Alabama's defense made Oklahoma's offense look pretty mid. They only had, 272 yards or something like that. Look, Alabama going into this week, they're the heavy favorite, right? I mean, this team was probably worse than Louisiana Monroe. But don't fall into that rat poison mentality. You have to execute. You have to gain momentum back because we all know about that big one in the back end at Jordan-Hare Stadium. So, look, as we go to Kane Wommack, I thought he had some really interesting things to say about this Alabama defense, specifically a really big update on Russaw, who was a game-time decision against Oklahoma. Now, they held him out. He was really close to playing. He said that Russaw is pushing, and they're pushing Russaw too, right? They want him back on the field. And that's not to take Yanzi Pierre's place. That's to have another weapon on the defensive side of the ball that can get active after the quarterback. Look, Russaw is one of the best players on this defense, like it or not. So I think you just have added arsenal, and if he's good to go, maybe in a limited role against Eastern Illinois, I look at that as a positive. But again, he said, I think we're in position for him to play very, very soon. I wanted to talk about Red Morgan. Now, Kane Wommack was asked about Red Morgan, who actually started at the Husky this past weekend against Oklahoma, and he said this: look, he's becoming more and more of a complete player. Can I get your feedback on Red Morgan inside the comment box? This guy is absolutely fantastic. He said he's proud of the fight and excited to see what he'll do on the back end of the season. I think when 16 gets in, he plays at a higher gear. He's playing at 1,000%. I look to some of the players like even today, Coach Kalen DeBoer highlighted just kind of the overall play of Lazier Brooks on that special teams play, right? Like there's certain guys on this team that are playing at 1,000 miles per hour. Red Morgan's one of them, and I would say Lazier Brooks is another one. So to have that complete type of player start to grow, and I'd say have like a glow up at this point in the season, all for it regarding Red Morgan going into a very pivotal part of Alabama's football season. Next up, Ryan Grubb. Look, Ryan Grubb said this straight up. He said, we felt like if you take care of the ball, we win that game. It's really that simple. 100%. I don't think, like, when you look to the overall statistics between Alabama and Oklahoma, I think Oklahoma beat Alabama on turnovers. And all the other statistics went for Alabama, right? I think Oklahoma, once again, was 3 of 3 in the red zone. But other than that, it came down to simple execution. And this is why I'm not worried about the turnovers, fam. Stay with me here. Let me ask you this, and I asked this on the morning show as well. Have the turnovers been an issue the entire season? I get it. You're probably going to go to the fact that Ty Simpson and the fumbles, right? But collectively, have there been a lot of turnovers that have hurt this team? Has this been a team that has turned over the football a lot? No, it hasn't, right? There's been some constants with this team, but turnovers and losing the turnover game hasn't been one of them. That's why I don't think that all of a sudden you're just going to face all these turnovers. It was some costly turnovers for sure, but this hasn't been a fact that has plagued the team. Now, Ryan Grubb was asked about the fumbles, and he said this, look, Ty has to be able to get the ball out of his hands. Ty knows that, and he's beating himself up more than anybody. You and I know that Ty Simpson is a coach on the field, right? Like, this is a guy who wants it more than anybody, and you know he's going to hold himself accountable, right? Look, I also wanted to mention this next part about Germie Bernard. All right, now Germie Bernard did an interview this morning with the Next Round, and I take a lot away from this. He said, look, there is still a lot at stake. We're going to get it done, and he's not stressed at all. That's leadership, that's confidence, and honestly, that tells you where this locker room, where its head is at. And the next graphic that I show is, look, there is still so much to play for. You could be on this bottom level right here. I mean, North Texas, they're a group of 5, so you got to take one of those teams. But you could be in BYU situation. You can be in Georgia Tech, Virginia. I know those teams fighting it out for the ACC. You could be with Texas, who just got it taken to them by Georgia, right? Fighting for their lives. They have to win these next 2. And even if they did, they still have low chances to make the playoffs, to be honest. And like USC, have to win on the road at Oregon. You could be in this next level, right, where Alabama is. And this is from the ESPN All-State Playoff Predictor Poll, okay? So they have an 84% chance to still make the college football playoff. And it starts with this week, taking care of business against Eastern Illinois. And as Germie Bernard just said, look, there's a lot at stake. We're going to get it done, and he's not stressed at all. This team, and as I've said, they have been punched in the mouth before. This isn't the only time. This team has a lot of fight in them, and the last time that they took an L, they rattled off 8 consecutive wins. So let me go to this real quick. I was talking about this on the show today, and I said, look, if Alabama wants to make a real run at this, you're going to have to see kind of this best case scenario or some plausible options. But let's stick right here, okay? Alabama, if they really wanted to make a run at this after their loss, they'd have to win 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 games in a row. Let me ask you this. Has Alabama had a winning streak of more than 6 games in a row? Yeah, they have. They just won 8 games in a row, okay? All right, so let me ask you this. Has Alabama beaten 4 consecutive ranked teams in a row? Because that's something that they have to do if they get the SEC title, the quarters, the semis, and the title. Have they done that before? Yeah, they have. They're the only team in the country that has beaten 4 ranked teams, not overall, but consecutively. Week after week after week after week. So look, that's kind of the best case scenario setup. Stay positive. There's a lot to play for. This team is still hungry. This team still has a lot of players that are most importantly healthy and that have been battle tested. So coming off Kalen DeBoer, Ryan Grubb, and Kane Wommack's press conference, guess what? I'm staying optimistic because I know that there is still a lot at stake. And when I look to that first game, this back-end game against Auburn, look, you're going to have to go through the haunted barn regardless. Like, that's just how it goes every single year. Whether you were playing for a 4-team playoff, whether you're playing the BCS, it doesn't matter. The game against Auburn has always held such high magnitude, okay? And this season is no different. You got to take care of it, but it starts this weekend against Eastern Illinois. I appreciate you guys kicking it with me right here on Bama Football on YouTube. News as it happens. Thanks for rocking with me. As always, see you live 10 a.m. Central Time right here on Bama Football on YouTube. Thank you so much. Get inside the comment box.